This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, you good? I'd like to call to order the Township of Hamilton Committee meeting for Monday, October 5th, 2020. Please stand for the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided pursuant to the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law by posting notice of this meeting on the bulletin board in the building and by publication in the press of Atlantic City and the Atlantic County Record on January the 15th, 2020. Adequate notice of in-person attendance and live streaming with call-in capability was provided by the press of Atlantic City and the Star Ledger on September the 19th, 2020. Mr. King?
Here.
Mr. Gishard?
Present.
Mr. Kurtz?
Here.
Mr. Vitale?
Here.
Mayor Schenker.
Here. Can we get a moment of silence for private reflection? Thank you. We have no guest presentations. We do have a proclamation for knockout opioid proclamation real quick. October 6, 2020, whereas New Jersey is in the midst of a life-threatening opioid abuse epidemic. Whereas the Partnership for Drug-Free New Jersey has designated October 6, 2020 as Knockout Opioid Abuse Day, an initiative with three purposes: to raise awareness to the potential for dependency of prescribed pain medicine and its link to heroin use rate in our state, to reduce the stigma of addiction, shine a light on the need for recovery, and to communicate to physicians information on safer prescribed messages found in Centers for Disease Control and Prevention guidelines for the prescribing of opioids, considering other therapies, realistic treatment goals with patients, and discussing with patients the positives and negatives of opioids. Whereas the State Senate and the General Assembly jointly resolved on that October 6th shall be permanently designated as Knockout Opiate Abuse Day in New Jersey in order to raise awareness about the dangers of the link between opioid abuse and heroin addiction, and to educate healthcare providers, community leaders, state lawmakers, and members about opioid abuse epidemic and its effect throughout the state of New Jersey and across our country. Whereas the Township of Hamilton and its Municipal Alliance Committees initiatives designed to raise awareness to opioid abuse in New Jersey and take the steps to prevent addiction. Therefore, it be proclaimed October 6, 2020, recognized as Knockout Opioid Abuse Day, Township of Hamilton, Atlantic County, New Jersey. Thank you. We'll move on to addition and deletion, late agenda items to be considered for action tonight. We have several items that are going to be added. 6B, resolution authorizing the purchase of a 2021 F-350 extended cab pickup truck build utility body for Winter Ford under the state contract, $38,715. 6C, resolution authorizing the purchase of a 2021 Ford 350 extended cab pickup truck from Winter Ford under the state contract not to exceed $30,726. 7A, Muddy Stuff Body Works LLC, Hamilton Mall. This would be a registration, a business registration. 7C, renewer of liquor license with special ruling 0112-33-036-009, Platinum Showcase LLC for 2020 through 2021. Committee, pleasure.
Don't move.
We have a motion. We have a second. Are there any questions? Hearing no questions, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed,
Aye.
the ayes have it. We'll move to early public comment on agenda items excluding items listed for public hearings. Is there anybody on the phone would like to speak? Okay. If you would like to speak, please unmute yourself and we'll recognize you. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak? I think we had one person signed up. Steve?
Thank you for your time. My name is Steve Hornicle. I was a resident of the Township for many years. I'd like to ask the Township of Hamilton Committee to consider naming the hockey rinks a recreational facility in honor of my Harry Hornicle, dedicate the rinks to him. He was a tireless volunteer for years with the hockey program. He was instrumental in setting the program up in the mid-'80s. As Eric, who's here with me, confessed, he was very instrumental in getting the league up and running, including the building of the rinks in part of the rink in Harding Lakes. And then as he progressed, he was in building the 2 rinks that we have now out at the Leeds Gap facility. He was very much MLAA, involved with the hockey committee itself, helped run the Robert J. D'Onofrio Memorial Tournament for many years. They're still using some of his information with that program. And I would just like the township's permission and that to name the rinks for him.
Okay. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Early public comment.
Hello, my name is John Duval. I served as the hockey commissioner for 15 years, working closely with Mr. Harry Hornicle. If it wasn't for Harry, the hockey program would not be where it is today. I want to correct one thing that Steve said. They still use some of his ideas and methods. They use most of his ideas and methods to this day. I still occasionally go down out to some of the tournaments and everything. Just besides the hockey, I mean, Harry taught me how to use Excel. I mean, so back when computers just started, and did all this for 30 plus years. I came in when my son was old. My son's 31 years old now, and without Harry, I don't think the hockey would be where it is today. So I just wanted to show up my support and agree 100% that he definitely deserves this honor. Thank you.
Good, thank you. We don't have anybody else. Oh, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, Bob Dirk here. I want to say Harry Hornicle is deserving of this honor. I've coached there for 16, 20 years. He was there every game. He was a timekeeper for penalty box. He log him in, back up. He must have done that for 30 some years. Every game, training. No. He's very well known for the end of the game. 1 minute. Every game. He would let everybody know it was 1 minute. Well deserved.
Thank you. All right, with that, we'll move on to discussions. Formal actions may be taken. First A, we have a resolution adopting and approving stipulations of settlement, Hamilton Mall Realty, LLC, Hamilton Township. Tax court document number 005640-2020 and 005649-2020, and authorizing Township its solicitor to sign. Bob, would you like to give a little background on this
Yeah,
for those who don't know about it?
this was an appeal by the entirety of the Hamilton Mall as well as the out parcels, which are Buffalo Steak Wing and the like, Buffalo Wings and the like. What has happened at the Hamilton Mall has been the vacancy rate has continued to increase. which means that the income upon which we base our assessment has been reduced. We all know what happened with Sears, Penny's. Penny got partially released. Penny's is a separate appeal, which is the second docket number. And we did that because they have had sublet some of the portions of that building, which used to comprise Penny. It was the recommendation of our assessor that we agree to the numbers that are before you now. The good news is they won't get a refund in this year. And the settlement document locks them in for 3 years. So we won't have to look at this again for another 3 years, which is really good. What's happening nationwide with malls is pretty indicative of what's happening here for the smaller malls. Some of the malls still remain successful. I happen to be aware of the Freehold Raceway Mall that's up and running well, but it does have some vacancies. But in general, the malls of this character and this size nationwide are increasingly vacant. And what happens is we send out a Chapter 99 notice for them to give us their income expenses statement. And when they do, it makes a trial in the state court very difficult for the township to win. So with that in mind, I worked very heavily with our assessor, Bill Johnson. Bill made a presentation to you in closed session and came up with the recommendations that are in the stipulation. As your solicitor, I recommend it. Although it's a hit, it's able to be absorbed over a period of time, and the hit is not as bad as it would be if we proceeded to trial.
Okay. Like Bob said, this is not good news, but it could have been worse. Them back a year, means the past year, made it a lot worse. The mall has pretty much cut itself by a third in value over the last 5 years easily. So there's about a third left. And I talked with the people the representatives of the owners quite often, and they're trying. It's not for lack of trying. At the time when they were really starting to move on and do some things to help the situation, COVID hit and couldn't have made it try. So, they're trying, but they're going up an uphill. It's an uphill battle. So I feel for them a little bit, and anything that we can do as a township, we're going to do, because it is no matter who they are or what they are now, they've been a good neighbor and a good source of income for this township since 1986. And now they're struggling. So whatever we can do to help them.
Mr. Mayor, the other thing I would point out is that these values are based on October 1st of the pre-tax year, so for last year.
Okay.
And taking in Red Lobster, Olive Garden, Longhorn, and all of those out parcels, forget about Mason's, Penny, Sears. The COVID virus will put them in a position next year for even bigger.
Yes.
So this settlement takes that into account.
Yes.
And obviates.
Mm-hmm. So locking it up for 3 years is probably the best scenario for us, because they can't come back next year. So, every once in a while we get a little bit of a win. Township Committee, what's your pleasure on this?
I'll make a motion to approve the settlement with a comment. I just want to say, Bob, a great job on working on this with our tax assessor. I think it's probably the best structure we can get right now, the way things were. I think the work you did on this was great. So I'll make a motion to approve this settlement.
I'll second that motion, including the comments about Bob and the work you did.
Yes.
Actually, Bill deserves more credit.
No.
Appreciate you saying that.
I know
Sure he did.
Bill's not here tonight, but we want to thank him for all his work. He did an excellent job. I also have to say, this is not the first. This is the third time the mall has done this. Or no, it was the one time, but it was two different events. It was a step down agreement.
There was. You have to remember that initially, mall, Penny, Sears, were all separately assessed for our facilities. But this takes into account the sale of the mall and the outparcels, which was substantially lower. So,
Well, my comments were that Bill did a great job then, did a great job now, and, he's helping us to stay above water here with a property that is struggling at best. We have a motion and a second. Bob, do you want to roll call on this? Rita?
Mr. Kane,
Mayor, I echo your comments. They've been a great neighbor, and unfortunately, they are struggling like many businesses now. I just want to thank the planning board too, who's worked very closely with the mall and the new owners to try to do whatever they could to help them out, and I'm sure they'll continue to do so in the future. So I vote yes.
Mr. Gishard,
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz,
Yes.
Mr. Vitale,
Yeah, good job, everybody. And please maybe avoid Amazon a little bit and go to the mall and support these people to keep us afloat here. And I vote yes. Thank you.
Mayor Shanker.
Yes.
All yes and carried.
Thank you. B, something that probably nobody cares about, the hockey rinks at Lipstick. That was sarcasm, by the way. So we've been talking about this for a little while now. Got your emails, letters. I also got an email from Jennifer Goff, who is the commissioner. So wanted to kind of do it in line with the MLAA. So that was kind of the one piece that was needed, and we got that. So it's up for discussion. You have any comments? Anyone?
Well, I would just like to mention it's almost a no-brainer. Harry's done so much for the community. When I was president of the Merchants Association, he helped me out so much with the events and all that we did in town. He was always there if we needed him for something, and he certainly has been one of the main driving forces for hockey. So like I said, it's an absolute no-brainer. I think this is a great idea. So.
Yeah, I'm very much for this. Mr. Hornicle was there with our men's league, even not just with the kids, with the men's league, he'd be there. I mean, I guess it meant a little bit that his kids were playing, but he was still there, and he was instrumental in all of that and everything that went on. And like Mr. Kurtz said, not just the hockey courts, all over town, soccer, you name it, any sport that Steve and Joe played, he was there supporting everything. One of the things I was thinking, there's a couple of ideas floating around. One was maybe name the street that comes in, Hornicle Way, the whole complex, the Hornicle complex. I was thinking more towards just naming one of the rinks. Probably, I think they're numbered 1 and 2, right? Name rink number 1, Hornicle rink, something like that, and get a sign made, which obviously I think won't be a problem getting people to donate towards that, so it won't cost the township anything. Please silence your cell phones. And so that's kind of up for discussion. I don't know if that's something needs to be decided right now. Mayor, what's the?
I don't think we have to decide. I think we can have conversation with the hockey commissioner and see how they're going to work that out. I mean, all the ideas are good ideas. We have plans for that whole recreation area out there that we'd like to move forward with as soon as we can get out of this COVID situation. But yeah, I think that we can allow a conversation. Maybe we reach out to Jennifer and have her meet with the recreation liaisons, and they can work something out there. Does that sound agreeable to everybody? I think the most important thing is that we do this. We all have had that coach in our lives, that person that went a little bit further. I remember as a kid playing a lot of street hockey in Linwood, and there was 2 gentlemen who were there all the time. I felt like they didn't have their own kids, but they did they were still there all the time, and they made it, and they kept those leagues going year in and year out. And, and that's what's important. Anybody that gets involved with youth sports knows that the reason you do it is to keep the kids off the street and turn them into good adults. And that's how it works. So I think this is a great idea. I'm all for it. Rodney?
I support that. I didn't know Mr. Article personally, but from what I've heard, there's no question about it. I support the proclamation.
Okay. With that, motion?
I'll make a motion to support this.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor signify.
Aye.
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 Those opposed? The ayes have it. Very good.
We're on our
deserved.
way.
Yes.
Well deserved.
You're very welcome.
Okay, introduction of ordinances. Public hearing will be held October 19th, 2020. We have 5A, an ordinance 1932, 2020, an ordinance of the Township of Hamilton to regulate short-term rentals and residential properties. Art, you had a comment on this?
At this point, this is due to some more clarification and discussion we want to have with obviously Committeeman Committeeman Kane and the rest of the committee,
Okay.
so we can get some clarifications on this. So
All right.
I would just request to withdraw at the next meeting.
Do we need to table this, Bob, or can we?
Table.
Okay.
Motion to table.
I'll entertain a motion to table.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing questions, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? The ayes have it. B, ordinance 1933, 2020, an ordinance authorizing the sale of lots 22-27 in block 377 as shown on the tax map of the Township of Hamilton and granting such to the owner and owners of said real property contiguous to the same the right to prior refusal to purchase such land in the Township of Hamilton.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing no questions, we get a roll call for this? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those
Aye.
opposed? All those opposed? The ayes have it. C, ordinance 1934, 2020, an ordinance amending provisions of Article 2, Section 1, Article 1. Section 70-4 of the Codes of Hamilton Township, clarifying authority and scope for establishing policing and the general oversight of public safety and emergency services. Art, you want to give us a little background on this, please?
Sure, this is just clarification to a prior ordinance or an existing ordinance where in the absence really of an overall public safety director, what this does, it gives your police chief the authority to oversee day-to-day operations of all your public safety functions. So it creates a clear chain of command and accountability through the systems for the public safety systems in the township.
Okay. Anyone have
I'll
any?
move 5C.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing no questions, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? The ayes have it. 6, awards, bids, contracts, and change orders. A, resolution approving the interlocal services agreement between the Township of Hamilton and Hamilton Township Board of Education for solid waste collection services and authorizing mayor to sign the same. So this is basically bringing Hamilton Township schools on board with our agreement with the ACUA.
That is absolutely correct.
Okay,
Simple as that.
it's pretty straightforward. Pardon me?
there's an issue that you need to be aware of.
Okay,
I wasn't sure this was going to be on today, but there's an ordinance that authorized the agreement, the interlocal service agreement.
mm-hmm,
In the ordinance, it recites an administrative code provision that defines the word residential solid waste management. And included in the definition of the administrative code is schools. And that term is located in the ordinance. So that would lead you to believe that you could do it by resolution and not by ordinance. The problem is that in the ordinance itself, it goes on to say this does not apply to businesses and commercial enterprises unless the committee says otherwise. And that language would lead me to believe, I think you can do that, which is on the table before you. But I need to explain to you that there is a trend of thought that would say you would have to amend the ordinance to do that. The upside to doing it the way you are doing it is the definition in the administrative code includes schools. So when you use that term, residential municipal waste, by law, it includes schools. But what the next sentence says, when you exclude that, we're not going to apply it to business and commercial enterprises. Those terms are not defined. Okay, there's no definition anywhere in the ordinance that talks about the definition of those terms. But it goes on to say in the very same sentence, as otherwise established by the, let me read. First paragraph says municipal solid waste shall consist of type 10 solid waste as defined in the administrative code. And that includes schools. Third provision talks about services. And it talks about the weekly residential municipal waste. And it goes on to say, quote, businesses and commercial properties are not included and will not be served under this ordinance, except when specifically dictated by the township. Now, there's a trend of thought that would say you must do this by ordinance. But when it says except as specifically directed by the township, I think it gives you leeway, particularly in light of the definition of municipal solid waste. So can you do it the way we're doing it? Yes. But I think that we should give thought after we do this to amending the ordinance. So what I'm suggesting to Township Committee is that you can do this by resolution. You can amend the contract and start the waste pickup, but we should give thought to bringing this back to the table.
okay. So this needs to be done now because right now they are without service. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So I think that's the reasoning behind doing this as quickly as possible. Somehow, when we were originally doing the contract and the deal, it didn't work out for them the way we thought it would, the way that was promised, so to speak. So this is a way for us to get them going again.
Yes.
So I don't disagree. I think we need to do this like this now, and then we can look at the other side of this.
I just want to avoid a challenge.
I understand.
So the other side of it is to ordinance.
I think you can do this right now to get it started.
Yeah.
So I would like to give you all an.
It's fine.
I would prefer not to pay for it. If we're gonna do it, we put it on. And then,
Well, if we amend the resolution, or the, excuse me, we amend, try that name.
amend the ordinance.
Thank you. Can't we just do that?
Yeah.
I mean, really, it's a big deal. Other than the fact that we're going to do the resolution and then we'll amend the ordinance.
Yep.
You can't pass this based upon the ability to
I'm saying to you right now that it's gray. And I think it's gray enough to be substantial in our favor to do it the way it's being presented. To get it started. What I'm suggesting is I won't need to give you an opinion. I'll just draft the ordinance. It makes this a slam dunk winner in the face of the chamber.
Right.
Okay, that's the important.
And that's not an expensive item. It's,
Okay, I'm okay with it.
All right, so we have a resolution on the table.
I'll make a motion to approve this resolution.
Second.
Motion and second. Any questions? Hearing no questions, we need a roll call for this.
Mr. Kane,
Yes.
Mr. Kishard,
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz,
Yes.
Mr. Vitale.
Yes.
Mayor Shanker.
Yes.
Oh, yes, and carried.
6B, resolution authorizing the purchase of a 2021 Ford F-350 extended cab pickup truck with utility body from Winter Ford under state contract not to exceed $38,716.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions?
What's this? We're replacing something, Brett?
Any other questions? Rita, can we get a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Kane,
Yes.
Mr. Kishard,
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz,
Yes.
Mr. Vitale.
Yes.
Mayor Shanker.
Yes.
Oh, yes, and carried.
C, resolution authorizing the purchase of a 2021 Ford F-350 extended cab pickup truck from Winter Ford under state contract not to exceed $30,726.
This was part of the budget too.
Yes,
Yes. Yeah.
these are two vehicles that we're replacing.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Your motion is second. Are there any questions? Hearing no questions. Rita, can we get a roll call vote, please?
Yes.
Mr. Kishard,
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz.
Yes.
Vitale.
Yes.
Mayor Shanker.
Yes,
Oh, yes, and carried.
thank you. Consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve items A, B, C, and E, pulling D for discussion.
Okay.
Just real quick, that needs to be tabled for the purposes of clarification on some of the language. And there's an issue with the vacation of an alley that we need to clear up between the redevelopment statutes and the municipal land use statutes. And we just want to make sure that everything's clear in that agreement, and everybody, especially the redeveloper, understands how property ownership will end up. So I would request that be tabled. Yes.
Yes. So we have a motion for item A, B, C, and E. We have a second?
Second.
Second.
Any questions? Hearing no questions, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? The ayes have it. We'll move back to D, which we're going to table for the reason that our administrator just laid out. We get a motion?
I'll make a motion to table D.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing no questions, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, the ayes have it. No personnel. 9, approvals. A, minutes of the September 21st, 2020 regular meeting.
Make,
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Are there any questions? Hearing no questions, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, the ayes have it. B, minutes of the September 21st, 2020 executive session.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing no questions. Rita, can we get a roll call vote, please?
Yes, Mr. Kane,
Yes.
Mr. Kishard,
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz.
Yes.
Mr. Vitale.
Yes.
Mayor Shanker.
Yes.
Oh, yes, and carried.
Thank you. C, bills. Bill list total $646,786.51.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing no questions. Rita, can we get a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Kane,
Yes.
Mr. Kishard,
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz,
Yes.
Mr. Vitale.
Yes.
Mayor Shanker.
Yes.
Oh, yes, and carried.
Reports, Mr. Administrator, you have anything to add?
The only thing I want to remind everyone of is the COVID situation. We are seeing spikes across the board and across the Northeast, and we do have some local employee issues that we're dealing with right now. But I want to remind everyone that this has not gone away. It's not going away for a while, and that we must maintain safety for the public and the employees. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Solicitor.
Nothing to report.
Mr. Engineer.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have a few items. The first item in my October 5th report has to do with the Lake Lenape Dam. There's three things that have occurred since the committee meeting 2 weeks ago. The first is a WSP, who's the dam engineer, who we seem to be very pleased with in the meetings they've attended. They finally have supplied a construction cost estimate for the Powerhouse Dam rehabilitation, and that estimate is in the amount of $697,000. Now, we requested 2 weeks ago when they come to the next dam meeting that they're present, that because it's important, we get an estimate. We want to know, if this is a reliable estimate. So I know I have some questions. Those familiar with the dam and the powerhouse, I know Brett probably has some questions. That's Carl. So we look forward to meeting in 2 weeks again on the dam committee, and WSB, we requested that they be present for the rest of the meetings, monthly meetings that we plan to hold. The other item on the dam that I want to report is that the WSP had completed a biennial. Every 2 years they have to do an inspection. They supplied the list of improvements or restoration, minor restoration, and Brett Knoll has taken care of each of those items. So that report, when it was submitted to the state, was conclusive that our township has met their obligation. That concludes Lake Lenape Dam. Again, in 2 weeks, on the 19th, we're going to have the next dam meeting. Regarding Cotton Mill Bridge, I was at a Cotton Mill Bridge last Thursday morning. The bridge is on scheduled to be completed September of 2021. The project is moving very steady. There's no issues. The South Bridge abutment piling they were completed last week. They're driving the piles for the North Bridge abutment this week. The rest of the in-water work will occur towards the end of October. Once that is completed, there's no other in-water work that they'll need to do in the spring when they have a moratorium against doing work in the water. So the bridge is being, moving along very methodical and on schedule. It will not be completed ahead of schedule that we were hoping. There seems to be a long lead time on some of the precast concrete structures. So, I keep asking questions about scheduling, and it seems to be they're pretty much on their pre-planned schedule for that bridge. A couple other things. Arawak is still working on some punch list items on the road program. Tavistock, we have a little bit of seal coating to complete. That's scheduled to be completed this Wednesday and this Friday. If the weather's good, they get to complete that seal coating on the original sections of the road, we will be able to sign off on the Tavistock project. I guess the last item I want to report on is New York Avenue. The DOT accepted the core sample results that we sent up to them last week, so I'm in the process of getting the 75% township reimbursement payment together so we can get, we receive our last 25% on that. Mayor, that completes my report.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions? Seeing no questions, we'll move on to Township Committee. Carl?
Probably should have brought this up with Arch, but I still see that there's some waste management cans floating around out there. I'm sure that's not our responsibility, right? Waste management's supposed to be picking them up.
And I've seen them, Carl. I've seen them too, and I mean they're having some time picking them up, right, Brett? But we remind them about it. They're not our responsibility.
So just people just leave them out there until.
Just leave them there, and we'll make sure we're calling waste management on a regular basis, telling them locations and stuff. And some of their people haven't been.
How are we with that? Is everybody gotten their cans? Brett, we all good now? I know there were some people that, you know, didn't get their can, whatever, complained, but I think it went pretty as smooth as we could expect it to go. So good job. Thank you. I got mine, so I was happy.
That's all that counts.
No, that's not true. I'm worried about everybody else. You know, like that's people seem not, they don't think about trash until somebody's not picking it up or it's left out too long and it gets bad real quick. So we don't want that, but thank you very much. Good job with that. And just cap off with the whole thing with Mr. Hornicle. I'm happy that we got that through. You know, like everybody said, there's nobody more deserving than that man. So that's really all I have to say is, and Maddie Reagan, hi. Hope everything's good. Love you, miss you.
John?
I just wanted to touch on the trash issue also. I'm hoping that the bulk pickup originally was supposed to happen the same day as your normal trash day pickup for the areas. Is that still on schedule for that to happen?
Yes.
Okay, I had a few calls asking that, and I thought there was no reason not to say yes for. And that's certainly something that we definitely are looking forward to. Over the years, we've had some issues over the bulk sitting out. It was missed. Now it sits for another 30 days, and it was an issue. We don't have to worry about that now, and that's a big improvement, I think. And congratulations to Public Works too, and everyone else who's working on this. The cans seem to be going out when they're supposed to, and everybody seems to be happy with it. So thank you.
Okay. Charlie, would you like to comment?
Mr. Mayor, I have nothing to add at this time.
Okay. Rodney?
Yes, I'd like to make everybody aware of the fact that the PFW, which has a hall that's rented out to the public, their air conditioner broke down. Turns out they have 3 of them for a total of like 7 tons. And it's not cheap to fix them. Unfortunately, with the coin drop and whatnot, that helped a lot. But that is going to be fixed. So in case you've heard it's broken, it's going to be fixed.
What you got? Okay, Rodney, thank you.
One
So,
more thing.
oh, go ahead.
Happy to report that our green team was awarded, I think it was an $8,000 grant to work on sustainable Jersey, workers, sustainable Jersey.
Mhm.
We, one of the first projects is going to be to assess the impenetrable surfaces in Hamilton Township. When you think of, you think we have 115 square miles, and that at one time all of that was penetrable material, and it's filtered down to the aquifer. Now, I don't know what the percentage is, but a lot of it covered with paving and houses and so on and so forth. Well, that is a consideration in our development. And so we work with the state and with Sustainable New Jersey to, and with Rutgers University on assessing our situation. And they are a resource, I think, that can help, possibly help the planning committee and others to design our property and construction properly. I want to thank the green team. Thank Hannah helped with that too. And I know that Brett Noel, was very helpful. Among other things, he took a lot of pictures, and he took a picture of the administrator who looks pretty good in the picture. You can see it in the Sustainable Engineering website. Okay, that's all I have.
Thank you, Rodney. Famous now.
No.
So I also would like to, I don't think there's enough compliment to what the Public Works and Arch and Lisa, everybody that was involved with doing this trash can turnover. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Brett, there was at least 5 tractor trailer loads of trash cans. And that, give me a number. 8,800 trash cans had to go out. And listen, we knew it wasn't going to be seamless. There was going to be some bumps, but I got to tell you, your team has done an outstanding job. I personally heard very little problems. You know, like I said, it's not perfect, but that is my hat's off to you. That was an unsurmountable task that you guys made look easy. So congratulations on that. I'm sure there's going to be a little bumps in the road here and there as we go forward, but I think everyone's going to find out that this is by far a better system, a better setup for everybody, just a better service in general. You know, you're dealing with a local, call it a company, call it whatever you want, and the money stays in this area, and I think that's all very important. So again, can't say enough about the team that put this together and actually pulled it off, including the ACUA, who jumped in and was able to get this set up 3 months earlier than originally agreed upon, which, you know, thank you to those guys too. Today, we saw the governor announce that Halloween is on. We are waiting for guidelines from the New Jersey Department of Health. We're still monitoring the situation very carefully. As of right now, Halloween is not canceled, but we will be looking at this going forward, hoping that all the numbers stay where they're at, and if that's the case, we're good. But you know, it's not like we're just making a snap decision on this. We make sure that if you choose to participate in Halloween and your children are involved in Halloween, that they're as safe as they possibly can be. We want this to be a happy holiday, but we also want the kids to get back to some kind of normalcy in their life. I mean, this has been really rough on them, and to not be able to do this would be just another thing that's out of the norm for them. So hopefully it all works out, but we have no intention of canceling at this point. So we'll keep you abreast on what's happening if there's any changes. With that, I will open it up to public comment. Anybody in the public like to speak? Anyone on the phone? Yeah, you'll have to unmute yourself in order for us to hear you. Just unmute and make yourself known. Okay.
Motion to close public portion.
Second,
Your motion and second to close public portion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those,
Aye.
sorry, Charlie. All those opposed? The ayes have it. Your motion for adjournment.
I'll make that motion.
Your motion and second. Are there any questions? Hearing no questions, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice evening.